You don't have the experience. It is hard. Of course it's hard. You have never done it before. And as a result of this, you do not take the actions. You do not move forward and start. Welcome to the Daring Living podcast, where it's all about personal growth, honest conversations, and exploring what it means to live a passionate, daring life. I'm your host, Shirley Huang. Hello everyone! I hope you are having a lovely, lovely day today. I am so glad to be back on here and recording a podcast episode again. Yay! I forgot how much I really enjoyed recording, and coming back, it has been a little bit emotional for me because I haven't been uploading for the past 2 months. So I will update you guys about what I have been up to. But first, I just want to say that for this episode, we are talking about the power of starting and why it is so important to start at where you are. So this is actually, I think, the perfect topic for me to talk about in this episode right now, because I am starting a new chapter of my life as well. I would like to announce that I am now a certified life coach. So for the past 3 months, I have been going back to school to get my certification in life coaching, and also at the same time just trying to navigate through this phase of transition in my life. And now I am so grateful to be able to move forward toward this new path that I have created for myself. So I specialize in helping people, especially millennials, navigate through daily life struggles and any confusing feelings that come up, such as anxiety, fear, frustration, confusion, and provide any guidance and practical strategies into helping them move forward and take actions to live a more courageous, a more intentional, and a more meaningful life. So I did not always know I wanted to be a life coach. In fact, back in January of 2019, I still did not know that I would be one. And the idea of being a life coach and having my own business online and helping people all sounded like a dream come true for me. But I didn't feel capable at the time. I didn't believe myself. I felt just all of it, it felt very, very foreign to me. Despite how I felt at the time, I know that one thing that I did do right is that I just started. I started inexperienced. I started terrified about this decision. I started not knowing what the heck I was doing. But I just started anyways. And that has made all the difference, because that one decision alone of starting, it led me to where I am right now. Taking on clients, having my own schedule, and doing what I love. So are you someone who is finding it hard to take actions, to finally make that career transition, to finally ask for that raise and move forward with your job, to actually plan that solo traveling trip for yourself, or to start that fitness journey, or to finally begin to start a side hustle for yourself? Are you just finding it very hard to start? Why is it so hard to begin and to start taking actions? So today in this episode, I want to discuss about some of the mental struggles and just some of the reasons that we all go through during this phase. Most of the time, in this starting phase, it really is a mental battle with yourself. And essentially, it comes down to this. You have to remove yourself out of your own way. Oftentimes in this phase, what is holding you back and keeping you stuck is yourself. So the first reason that is often one of the most important reasons that we do not start is this concept of fear. So this is where our ego likes to play tricks with us. Whenever we start thinking about anything that is unfamiliar and start thinking a little bit about new possibilities that we have never done before, our ego feels threatened because we are entering a new territory that we did not have any previous experience with, right? Our body is not used to it. Our mind is not used to thinking about anything like that. And then our brain will start giving us scenarios and lots of reasons to try to talk us out of starting. And this is when you start feeling fear coming up. And some of these fears include the fear of unknown, the fear of uncertainty, fear of other people's judgments about you. What's going to happen when people look at me now? What are they going to think about me? Sometimes it's even just the fear of experiencing more of these similar negative emotions. So because everything is new for you, it will be a lot of work. It will be a lot of more fears coming up, a lot more pain, a lot more uncomfortable feeling for you. And you are scared of experiencing those feelings, and therefore you do not start. And because you are feeling these uncomfortable feelings, it's not a positive one, and you feel like it is not safe, right? Because you are feeling that way, it is not safe. So it is probably not something for you. You probably should not start. So really be aware of these kind of ego-driven feelings and thoughts that are coming up, because what your ego is simply doing is that it's just trying to protect you. Since the caveman period, we needed to be alert, to be aware of our situations, of any signs of danger around us. And that is why our brain and our body is programmed to function like this. But nowadays, in reality, it's not that common that you're going to be in a life or death situation. But our body is still trained and programmed like that. So when those things come up, then you have to be aware and take a step and really analyze this feeling. Is this a practical emotion that I'm having that is useful for me right now? Something that I also like to do and to think about is that this kind of emotion of fear, I use it as a navigation for me. So instead of thinking of it as something I need to run away from, I use it as a compass for me to move forward. I use it as a signal of where I should be heading towards. Because you're feeling fear, you're afraid of it because that it is important to you, right? So that is probably something that I should move towards more. If you want to go even deeper and learn more about fears and about how to really identify and help you to move past those fears, my previous episode, episode 6, is all about fears. So feel free to listen to that if you want to learn more. Alright, so the second reason for why it is so hard to begin, and I think this one is very interesting, but also very common now, is that you got distracted and you simply forgot about it. Because life happens, right? And there are a lot of things going on all the time, especially now that there is the internet and social media, and everyone just feels like you have to be up to date all the time, right? And also in your personal life, you know, you have work, you have social functions, you have friends to see, you need to spend time with your partner, with your family, you have other side hobbies. It is a lot for you to juggle. So sometimes it is very likely that you simply just got distracted and you forgot about the thing that you wanted to start. So then it really comes down to this one question. This thing that you want to start, this side hustle, this career transition, this new opportunity that you are creating for yourself, how important is it to you? How important is it actually to you? Because right now we live in a society where advertisements, the internet, everything, and literally everyone is wanting your attention all the time, 24/7. So it's really important to identify your priorities and know what is important to you, and really create a system to check in with yourself regularly and to remind yourself to actually start. Write it down in your notebook. Write down what your vision that you have for yourself is. Or create a reminder for yourself. Put on your wallpaper on your phone. Constantly remind yourself of what is actually important to you. Not what is important to your partner or what is important to your friends or your family. What is important to you. And this thing that you want to start, if you know deep down that it should be one of your priorities, It has to be your non-negotiable. So then my question for you today is this. What are your non-negotiables in this stage in your life right now? Identify the top 3 priorities and stick with them. Okay? Stick with them, believe in them. They are important to you. Stand firm by them. It doesn't matter what other people say. These are the things that are important and that matter to you right now. And this is the kind of belief that you need to have for yourself and the kind of discipline that you should have for yourself. I call it loving discipline. Because you love yourself enough that you are going to stick with these priorities and you're going to start and you're going to make them work because this is your life and this is what is important to you right now. Okay, so the third reason that is preventing us from moving forward and starting is indecision. So with indecision, there's definitely the fear element of it in there. You are scared. You're scared of uncertainty and there's a lot of fear and things that are coming up. So that is why you cannot move forward. You cannot make a decision to start, basically. But with indecision, there comes also another aspect to it, which is not being able to trust yourself enough. Not being able to trust yourself. And this can come from a lack of indecision in the past. Also, because this is a type of reaction that you are used to, right? To dwell in the unknown, to keep you stuck there because you have done it in the past. And this is what your mind and your body is used to. Because the moment you decide to make a decision, oh man, now you're going all in and you have to take actions now and you have to spend the time and the energy and actually put in the work to make that happen. Whereas if you didn't start, you wouldn't have to go through all of that, right? So a lot of this indecision, you think you are trying to make a decision, but a lot of it is really a subconscious belief that's really holding you back. And there's also this experience of not being able to fully commit in the past because you are actually used to giving up halfway. You don't trust yourself enough that you will follow through with this decision. So therefore, you decide to be in the indecision phase. And you might also have experience in the past where you have been disappointed with the results. And because of this, you don't want to commit anymore and just experience that feeling of disappointment. So these are some of the reasons behind why it is so hard to trust yourself. And therefore, because of it, you are stuck in the indecision mode and you just cannot begin. So with this, I really want to offer you a new perspective. It's very interesting how we tend to use our past experiences to decide our future actions. But if you really think about it, it doesn't really make sense. How can you decide your future with your past if your future hasn't even happened yet? Does that make sense? If you are already deciding your future from your past, then of course it's not going to happen. Because in the past, you have never done anything like that before that is going to happen in your future. And here is what it is going to lead you. Your thoughts create your actions. So if you are already deciding right now, you are deciding your future from your past, from your previous experiences, the kind of person who you were, you already believe that it's not going to happen. You think that it can't happen because you don't have the experience. It is hard. But of course it's hard. You have never done it before. And as a result of this, you do not take the actions. You do not move forward and start. And therefore you stay the same. Even before you begin, you have already created what is going to happen. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Right? Does that kind of make sense? So in order for you to start, you have to think from your future. You cannot think from the past. If you think from the future, in the future, you are going to be this certain type of person. You are going to take certain actions. This is going to be what you're doing, and you can begin right now. For me, life coaching, this is something I had zero experience with. 7 months ago, I didn't even know what life coaching was. If I made my decision from my past, I have no experience, I do not know what I'm doing, this is going to be super hard for me, I would not have even begun. But what I did was I created a vision for myself first. I am going to be this life coach. I'm going to have my own schedule. I'm going to work online for myself, even though I completely was not doing it back then. But I was thinking about my future in the present. I was acting for my future, and that is what led me to start and begin. So when it comes to trusting yourself, it really comes with knowing about yourself and really choosing to believe in your ability to follow through and create that future vision for yourself and really sticking firmly to that. If you know, for example, 3 months from now or 6 months from now or a year from now, you are going to be this type of person, then in this present moment, you will have to take certain actions in order for you to get to there. If right now, if you cannot believe in your abilities right now, it is okay. But you must think from your future. Believe in your abilities in the future. And here is also something that is really cool, really fun. This thought is amazing. You can choose simply right now at this moment, just choose not to let your past experiences determine who you are anymore, okay? It is a choice. You can completely choose right now to think differently about yourself, to completely start new, and decide not to let anything in the past control you anymore, simply because you don't want to. If you think those things do not find it helpful, then you can choose not to let it. You can start on a completely clean state if you want to. And that's such an amazing thought that you can have for yourself. It is always a choice. And lastly, remember that indecision, it's also a decision. It is a decision to stay the same. And remember that you always have the choice. When I first started daring living, I went through all the reasons that I just talked about. A lot of fear. The fear of other people's judgments, the fear of showing up online, the fear of failure. And I was having a hard time making a decision to start. I didn't want to feel frustrated and to feel anxiety coming up as I'm trying to figure everything out. I lacked commitment. I was indecisive. It was hard for me to actually be honest with myself and put daring living as a priority. And eventually, I just got really frustrated and just really sick of not starting. So then I was just like, okay, sure. How badly do you actually want to make this happen for yourself? How badly do you want this? What are you running away from? Is you hanging out with your friends more important than this? Is your Netflixing time more important than this? Are you going to let other people's opinions determine if you are going to move forward or not? Are you going to let your own fears stop you? Are you going to live in fear and regret for the rest of your life? Okay, I know it sounds a little bit dramatic, but at the time it feels so real. And I realized that it is something that is actually very important to me. And I really just needed to figure out why I'm not starting and just get myself out of my own way. And I also just want to let you know that when you are starting something, anything, the first few steps are always the hardest. But I can promise you that once you are building that momentum and figuring things out as you go, it just gets easier. It is like lifting a heavy tire out from the ground, right? When you first lift it up, it is going to be super hard, super heavy, and the first few push of the tire, it will be extremely difficult. But once you start to push it a few times, it just gets easier and easier, right? Because there is that momentum that you're building. You're more used to a routine, you're more used to all the things that are going to come up. Your body and your mind is getting familiar with this experience. Now, this doesn't mean that there will not be any bumps along the way, that there won't be any uphills, any ditches that you might go through. So the momentum is there. And sometimes it will still be difficult. You will still face challenges along the way. And your job is simply to keep it rolling, keep on rolling forward despite that. And I also just want to leave you with this. There will never be a time when you feel 100% ready. And sometimes when we want to start something, we always feel that we need to be good enough in order to start. But how can you be good at what you do if you do not even start? In fact, I would actually argue that when there actually comes a time when you actually feel 100% ready, I think you have already waited for too long. If you just have something that's calling out to you, something that you really want to start and begin, start now. There is never a more perfect time to start than right now. Start now, start somewhere, start scrappy, start inexperienced, but just start. Get your foot into the door, be willing to suck at it, be willing to make mistakes, and learn over time. I love this quote from Tallulah Bankhead. She said, "If I had to live my life again, I would make the same mistakes, only sooner." So friends, there is never a more perfect time to start than right now. Instead of being afraid of failing, be scared of not starting. If you want to feel fear, let that be your fear. Let that be your fuel. Again, I would not have been where I am right now if I had not started in the first place. All of that came from a decision for me to just start, and then after starting, to make my decision final and not look back. So you might be wondering, what is next for Daring Living? Well, I recently just launched my 30-day life reset program. So if you are looking for a guide to be there with you to help reset your life, to start whatever it is that you really want to take actions with, whether it is developing new habits, setting boundaries, dealing with people pleasing, navigating through any changes, any goals in your life, these are all of the areas that we can really work on. If you are interested to learn more, you can visit the link in my show notes or type in daringliving.com/coaching. Again, it is daringliving.com/coaching. Moving forward, I will continue to provide more content on my podcast, in my blog posts, on my Instagram, and just sharing with you about my journey along the way. And I am just so grateful for you to be here. Thank you so much for following me on this adventurous, daring ride. Stay tuned for the next episode because we are going to talk about the idea of people pleasing. Until next time, have an amazing week, everyone. Bye bye.